What is up, everybody? Anthony here, and welcome back to another video here on LTRE. And in this video, I wanted to talk about the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which is coming out this Thursday, September 19th. I'm going to be live streaming it with my good friend Dave. We're going to be streaming it for a couple of days, talking about it, comparing it to the original, and just having a good time with noticing all those differences and seeing the improvements that they hopefully make for this return of Dead Rising. Frank West is finally back. It's the first Dead Rising release since 2016, and we really want this thing to go over well and be successful. But there's things that they have to actually fulfill to make this possible. I know they're saying a lot in their director's commentaries that they put out, and a lot of the press releases and the different changes and improvements that they wanted to showcase for this deluxe remaster. But I'm going to get into what they really need to change. Stuff they've already talked about, yes, but with replaying this recently on stream for a hype stream we did for Dead Rising 1, the original, there's definitely apparent changes that need to happen no matter what. The first thing that they are changing, apparently, is the AI in general. How they respond, how they follow Frank from point A to point B. If you guys may or may not know, you have to really go out of your way to rescue a lot of survivors in Dead Rising. You don't have to, but it does affect your rank, how fast you level up Frank. All that stuff does matter when it comes to Dead Rising. When you don't do any of the survivor side quest, you don't level up as much, and you don't really get a lot of the benefit. But saving survivors is part of the game, and the AI in the first Dead Rising are so bad. I mean, they would run into walls, run into each other, get stuck in countless hordes of zombies, get grabbed. Even if sometimes you would give them weapons, they wouldn't really utilize them all the time. And some survivors ran better than others, while some just cower in the corner, some crawl on the floor. There's just so many different random things that could happen with those survivors in the first game, and now it looks like they're promising that they are going to improve the AI. They also changed the staircase or the entryway into the ventilation shaft with adding a staircase that they can climb up, because they also used to get stuck on climbing up the wall just to the actual safe house, which would also cause frustration for the player and waste time. I think skipping dialogue now for the survivors is also a cool thing. They did give them dialogue, so you don't just have to read text after text. They actually talk back to you, but I think you can also skip these dialogue scenes, so you're not sitting there talking to them for minutes on end, where, in Dead Rising time, that's a lot of time, you know what I mean? So I think they actually need to have some kind of balance there where the AI can also, you could skip the dialogue, but then they will follow you. They won't get stuck. That is something that really needs to happen. And I know they've said all of this stuff in their trailers leading up to it, but it's essential for this thing to be successful for older fans, but also new fans coming in to the series for the first time. A lot of people will be playing this for the first time, jumping into this deluxe remaster. Other quality of life changes that they made, like auto saving, is here, where in the original you always had to manual save, very similar to Resident Evil or an original Resident Evil, where you would actually have to save, and other than that, your game wouldn't save at all. So the auto save is still here, and I know you can still manually save, where I do think auto saving is essential for a game like this. I also think that you should still manually save, because sometimes if you overstep your time or you miss a certain amount of side missions, I don't want it to just constantly auto save and override any mistakes that I might have made. So doing the classic, make multiple save slots, very RE style, just in case you make mistakes, I would still recommend doing that, even though autosave has been added for a quality of life feature. Another thing that they added for fans is the ability to skip time. So time is a big thing in Dead Rising. You have to be at cases at a certain time. You have to be at side missions on a certain time. So your watch is your best friend in Dead Rising. Also, your trusty camera. So the one thing that they have for the time skip is the fact that, let's say if you have a few hours between a case file, which cases in this game are essentially missions, right? Your main scoop, your main missions, but your side missions are kind of falling in between there. So a lot of times when you have time to kill, so to speak, and you want to go and do a side mission, you could choose to either do the side missions or ignore them, or you can now look at your watch and actually skip ahead to the time of your next case, so you're not just sitting around waiting for stuff to happen. But a lot of times during that downtime, you should be doing stuff to level up Frank, getting certain items that will benefit you for other missions. So there's never really a downtime. The one time that I think this will actually be helpful is for the overtime mode, which is actually towards the end of the game. Once you do the main cases, you actually do have to wait I think an hour and some change in real time to wait for the next missions to come up. So this is a good point to mention that I think this is a cool feature, but I also think you might not be using this as much. I know speedrunners will have a hell of a time using this because if you're speedrunning it and just doing the main scoops or whatever your stipulations are, you'll probably have a good time. I know there is a mod for time skips on PC, to my knowledge, for the original game, so some people might get a kick out of that, but that's also a feature that they added in there as well. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the closet in the safe house now holds all of the clothes. So you also get deluxe remaster costumes now. They've showed countless of these costumes, whether it's Chris Redfield, Leon, Ashley Graham, a Liquor costume, Street Fighter costumes, the list goes on. You can actually change Frank into many different costumes in this game, but also on top of that, what comes with this edition, you'll also be able to access all of the mall clothes that you find. So when you go out to different stores and put on different suits or crazy outfits for Frank, they actually all go into a closet bank back in your safe house, so you don't have to go to the store on the other side of the mall to get, you know, your favorite kicks for Frank. You can just change into them if you found them once, and it's all in one spot, which is another cool quality of life change that they made. That makes things a little bit easier if you want to just change Frank's outfit from mission to mission. Another thing they changed was Frank's camera. You can also change the different photo modes that it's in, different filters, but also add flashes to it as well as almost like an attachment. So you can also upgrade the camera to get more points, and getting prestige points is really important, not only from missions and rescuing survivors, but taking pictures just at the right moment. Another thing they updated was the modern controls. So they do have modern controls for this Dead Rising Deluxe. You can move and shoot just like in the recent Resident Evil remakes, and the buttons aren't all the same for every action button. B isn't the action button for everything, which means that you're not going to accidentally give survivors, you know, a weapon when you're trying to talk to them, for example. So these little updates are there, and again, hopefully they feel good, they work good, and you don't accidentally do a, you know, front roll as you're trying to just simply move your analog stick, because little things like that would happen in the original and it would just get very frustrating. They do have the original controls as an option if you're feeling ballsy and you're up for it. I think it would be more of a challenge to play that way, but you know, I think 95% of us might go for the updated controls as long as they are good and solid. So those are all the quality of life changes that they are improving, and they've said they will improve everything I just mentioned, so hopefully they actually fulfill that this Thursday when we see it come out. But another thing I wanted to mention is the whole topic of, you know, censorship and the changes that they made, the little tweaks they made to characters and dialogue so far. And all I say is that, you know, I would have hoped that they've just left this like the 2006 game. You know, it should just bring over everything into this game. You know, you shouldn't take stuff out for any reason, really. But I think that it's not going to change how I feel about the game overall. I still think I'm going to have a great time. I think it's going to be a great experience. I just really don't want them to change more than what they've already have. I know they changed certain, you know, character dialogue and things like that. The erotica feature in the camera and stuff like that has changed. You still get points for said things, but they don't actually, you know, call it out as an erotica section of the photo, right? So things like that are being changed, and I don't think that will necessarily to take me away from playing this game at all. Definitely not. I just think that when it comes to the story and the character dialogue and stuff like that, they should have left all of that the same. Because it's just like all these characters are kind of crazy in the head, especially the psychopaths, and I don't really think there should be a reason to have to change or justify things that they say, especially the main villains in the game. You know, it's very much on, not the RE side of things, but it's very, you know, the story, you know how it goes with a lot of these like virus stories and stuff like that, right? It talks about whether it's in other countries or in America, right? So I think a lot of that stuff, without getting too into spoiler territory with Santa Cabeza and all that stuff, they should keep that stuff the same, keep the origins the same, keep the family connection the same. Like, show us that, you know, you don't have to take any of that stuff out or any things that these characters are saying. towards Frank or anything else. Just keep it as it is. Now, I know they are making some changes, right, that we've already seen. So I know you guys might, jump to the comments and say, oh, have you seen this and seen that? I haven't seen the whole game yet, and I don't really want to see the whole game remastered yet, even though it's the same game, the same story outcome, I think, that happens in 2006. I still want to experience it for the first time on stream with Dave, with everybody watching. So yeah, I haven't seen all the gameplay uploaded up until this point, which has been a lot more than I've covered because I want to kind of savor it for the 19th. But yeah, I don't think that any of that stuff is going to take me away from playing the game, and I don't really think that it's going to, take modern audiences away from playing the game, that they jump into a game that has, good AI, good characters, good story. The motion capture and stuff like that is brand new as well, and the voice actors sound pretty solid. So this is going to be a, completely updated and refreshed remaster that I think is very, very on the line of a, when they rebuilt this stuff from the ground up in the RE engine, a lot of people were like, is this a remake, remaster? It's kind of like a hybrid in this case, but everyone's calling it a remaster, so I'll continue to call it that. But they did really make a lot of changes here that I think will make this game look great, feel great, and also just be another memorable experience in our Dead Rising history of playing. So let's continue the positivity. I am looking forward to this, guys. So let me know what you think down below in the comments of all of the changes that they made, all the positive changes, and let me know if you're going to be picking this thing up on the 19th, which is this Thursday. And if you're going to be joining me live, I will be live 11 a.m. Thursday Eastern Standard Time to play some Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.